It's your host, Mr. Just As Joe, and my brother from another mother, brother John Yah. How you doing, family?
I am awesome, brother. How about yourself this morning?
Oh man, I am fantastic, brother. Fantastic. Man, we got a early start on the show, a little earlier than I expected, but hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. How's things with you over there in Ibibi Toomey land, family?
Man, it is awesome, awesome. Still working my act. Of course, you know the weather always makes a change to things. Slow me down a little bit, but sales pick up when the weather gets cold for some reason. More people are in the house, and more people burn more fragrances. So it's awesome. Of course, you know the weather with the new variant that's out. People getting a little sick, which is just another common cold with an extra name on it to frighten everyone. But anyway, we got a great show to talk about some juicing and what you can do to improve your immune system today.
That's right. Today's title is from immune defense to self defense because we got two awesome brothers on the show, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, these are business owners, and y'all know how much we love to feature business owners. So we got two amazing business owners on the show, and these brothers are gonna bring it because they're doing some fantastic things. Typically, things that are not done by us as much in these industries. Now, when it comes to health and wellness, you know, we all up in that. But we got the one brother with I believe it's called Rhino Research Group, who's going to join us as well. He'll be in the later part of the show, and he has I believe, a armory of sorts. Correct?
Yes, I think he's into the training how to use the weapon and also clean the weapon. So he's very valuable in the community.
Exactly. He is the brother that, if in fact we get stuck somewhere on an island and we got to survive, I think this is the brother that I want on my team, right?
That's right. No
Exactly.
doubt about it.
Exactly. And then we got your other brother who he's going to bring the health and wellness from his juicing and juices that he does, brother Tidal, I believe. And that brother there, met him last night. It was great to meet him. And he brought a juice, and that juice was fantastic, actually. I had a tomato mixture, and I could taste some garlic. I could taste some tomatoes. I can't keep going with what all I taste because I don't want to put the recipe out there. But man, it was fantastic, and I loved it. So I'm glad to have them on the show, man. I know you've been working hard over there, man, doing what you do all the time, man. But you know, we've had an interesting, amazing week with the snow out in the Midwest here, and just some things just kind of happening out here on the streets. I was reading something that you post yesterday about I think it's a publication called the BMC or something like that. But they post something or release something. I think this is an old study. It's just kind of resurfacing about people who I think are focused on celebrity, or their mindset is so enthralled with celebrity that they have a lower IQ. I know I read the study, but it was like their cognitive um, abilities are lowered in that sense, and I thought that was interesting, man. I thought that was interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, it's what it's talking about is those who follow others based on them being a celebrity. They're less intelligent, is what they're really saying, and so they're left to think on their own. So this is the main reason why companies and people use their faces on products, right? Because people will follow them based on saying, oh, well, Jay-Z does it. Oh, well, Beyonce does it, right? If you like the celebrity, you may follow whatever it is they're doing. This is why they use celebrity faces to sell their products. So, yes, what you're doing is you're taking away a person's ability to think objectively and just go buy the product because you assume so and so is buying it, and that's what the study's about.
Got you. You know, it's interesting when you say that, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it, and I know, you know, I've seen it, and have to admit, I know some people that are that love and are enthralled with the celebrity ideology, right? Now, there's two things I think about when I think about that. I'm wondering, number one, are we is that a ploy to say, hey, the celebrity is not right? Why? Are there some celebrities waking up with this COVID thing or covert thing, and then they're saying not to follow that? You know, somebody's putting out a publication saying, hey, don't follow the celebrities, because maybe the celebrities are waking up to this covert thing and they're starting to speak on it. I don't know. Or is it the other way around? You know, where someone's trying to put it out there. They want you to follow the celebrities, right? So because bad news makes people look at things, and now people follow, you know, and go look and see what it's all about. Next thing you know, you got even more people hooked on celebrity. I don't know, man.
Correct. Well, what it is basically, we got to understand that celebrities make money. They make money with their faces and their voices. Understand this: just because you see their face on something, they got a check for that. If they are convincing you, or they're trying to convince you to take the vaccine, they got a check for that. Okay, so there's a motive behind them doing that. So you got to understand that. But let me switch gears for a second here. Now, here's where we are with this information. Right now, I think I posted, the Supreme Court is having the argument right now of the mandate, where a group of lawyers were suing the Biden administration to block the mandate. So right now they are discussing it, and I'm sure it may take a few weeks before the Supreme Court make their decision. Listen, this is why it's so important to pay attention who the president is and how they select those Supreme Court judges. Every time a judge dies, whatever president is in office, he will select a judge from his thinking party, meaning they carry the same ideology, and he will appoint them to be the Supreme Court judge. This is why every 4 years, every time the balance is off with the Supreme Court judges, you keep hearing the Roe versus Wade discussion. You would think this discussion is over with, but it's not. Every time the balance changes, someone ends up going in with a motion to re-challenge the abortion issue based on the balance change of the court system. So every 4 years, you're going to always hear something about it, because why? They're going to place new judges on there when the old judge dies out. So sometimes it's a Republican ideology sway, and sometimes it's a Democrat ideology sway. So right now, as I was listening, the Republican judges, interesting, were all for as I was listening, these judges were against them violating your constitutional rights, right? And so then I was listening, the Democratic judges seem to be kind of all for this scary, to put out the fear and to be a part of the fear that this should be pushed, right? So right now, what they're doing is they are discussing your constitutional rights right now. You should be paying attention to this. And so, and I think in a few weeks, maybe, I don't know if the closing arguments, they have closed it as of yesterday, but in the next few weeks, they will be making the decisions, or it may take a month before they make the final decision on whether or not can they mandate companies with 100 people or more to force them vaccination. And what they were doing was talking about OSHA. You don't know who OSHA is. OSHA is the organization or a government piece that go in and to regulate companies with 100 people or more, and there's regulations to it. This is why I don't use the word manufacturing on my company, because OSHA has to step in and come in and check my facility out and all that stuff. So OSHA plays a role with this, because OSHA will come in and tell a company what they can and cannot do, and they will be doing this based upon mandating a vaccine, which is something new for OSHA. OSHA's job is basically about safety. Is the company safe or not? Whether their machines work and functioning, or somebody may get hurt in the regulations and the rules. Here, they're bringing in OSHA on whether or not a person should wear a mask or take the vaccine.
Interesting. I know coming from Miami, South Florida, and I know we got, looks like our guest is on the line already. We're going to bring him in at about 9:15. Good stuff. But with that in mind, you know, it's interesting how OSHA works. I know down in South Florida, coming from Miami, you know, I used to be an engineer for Bell South, and working out on different spaces, you know, let's say it was neighborhoods, installing wiring for homes and things of that nature, different things that we would do. You mentioned OSHA, and you know, a lot of people start running, man. They seem to govern a lot of things and a lot of people as it pertains to validity here in the U.S. and such like that. But interestingly enough, I want to make sure we give a big shout out to BizBuzz, Shalom, Frank Stoner listening in online, Grand Rising brother, Layla Starseeds Hampton, Grand Rising Tribe. That's what I'm talking about right there. And hey, your brother Richard Whitlock Jr. says he's running for Metro Council District 1, y'all. He's on the ballot. So we're gonna have to get Richard Whitlock on the show, right?
Oh, no doubt. Yes,
Yeah,
sir. We got
absolutely.
to get him on. In fact, it's Richard that hooked me and you up together. So yeah, we got to have Richard on. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what's up, man. He's always in the background, in the forefront. He's always moving. He's always pushing. So that's what I'm saying. We gotta have him on the show and talk about where he stands. I want to hear.
That's right.
Mask on, mask off. Hamara Mathis, shout out to you, sis. Grand Rising, salute. Absolutely. BizBuzz says, speak on it, John. Keisha Williams, you know, we're going to have to get Keisha on the show as well. She is a big supporter of the show. She puts her money where her mouth is as well. So we appreciate her. Absolutely. Let's see. Once again, folks, you know, when you look at everything that's going on, I mean, we have to stay in tune.
Yes.
We have to. We can't. This isn't a time to sleep just because you got, you know, hot sauce in your bag, VP, you know, representing. This isn't a time to sleep if you feel so accomplished. Because if you can remember correctly, they still pulling on those emotional strings, throwing officers' knees on necks in public, right? So
that's right.
We want to make sure that we're not sleeping, because here's the reality. There's things going on right now. I think this year is the year to focus on. I think we got the mayoral elections, right?
That's right.
Okay, so you know, everybody. It's interesting. It's local elections that really affect your everyday life, right?
Correct.
Judges, you talking local mayors. You know, these are the people. District council. I mean, all of this. These are the people that really affect your life. We get caught up thinking that national elections is it, but it's not.
That's right.
It is definitely the local elections, and that's where we need to pay attention to more. And I feel like more of us, more of our community has been paying attention, right? They've been involved a little bit more in politics lately. So I'm seeing that, I'm hearing that, and that's great. So, you know, with that in mind, then I'm definitely hoping for a bigger turnout this year when it comes to local elections.
Yeah, but here's the problem. And local elections are very important for your local community. But here's the issue. People vote based on party line because they're emotion. And there's a statistics that's based on that, right? There's some true science behind it. Here's what people do. If you're a Democrat, you don't care what that person stands for. In fact, you don't even know the person. When you step in that booth, all your voting is all the way down the line, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. That's the problem. We need to get away from voting Democrat and start thinking objectively what that individual stands for, despite the color. The color don't mean nothing to me. What means something to me is the individual's mindset and the policies they want to put in. So one of the things I'm going to ask, if anybody is running for a Democratic Party, if they come on this platform to talk about their running, they're going to have to explain that what is the agenda for the Democratic Party, and do you or do you not agree with it? Because here's what's happening. The Democratic Party is stripping away your Constitution piece by piece. And so we need to understand that. And I'm sure the next brother that's coming on about these gun rights and him, and I'm sure he's gonna give us some constitution about your rights to carry guns, your right to be able to protect yourself, right? These are issues we need to be talking about and paying attention to the Democratic platform and their agenda. So and I'm not telling nobody to vote Republican. What I'm telling you is that they need to have an agenda away from the agenda of the Democratic Party. When you're talking about running for something locally, because it plays a role with our community, it plays a role with our district, wherever district you live in, plays a role whether you're an alderman and what's going on in that district that he's running for, right? This is why part of the West End, there's a no alcohol. There's one part of the West End, UK, it's a dry county, right? I think it's over in 40212 or part of 40212 on one side of Market where you can't have a liquor store. So what I'm saying is that you have to pay attention to who you're voting for and what is their agenda for your community, because there's a lot of gentrification going on, and every one of us are not taking part of that gentrification. There is an organization that comes together, I think, once a year to determine what they're going to do to a certain community. And if you're not part of that, I forgot the name of it. If you're not part of that and knowing what they plan to do in the next 10, 5, 10, 20 years, you're going to miss out. And this is how gentrification happens. And then we look up, white people done moved in and took over the neighborhood.
Exactly. It's called zoning, folks. You have to pay attention to zoning, especially because you can come up if you pay attention to zoning, you know. Go get you several houses in the hood and sit on them. Right now, man, we want to make sure we bring in our other brother T-Doll, Gasira. Family, welcome to the Tipping Point Morning Show. How are you? T-Doll, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, family. Okay. How you doing this morning?
Yeah, for now, today, I'm happy.
Awesome. Now this is the brother that brought us our juices, and I smashed mine last night. You know, I guzzled it down, bro. It was good. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you right now. You know, I do drink Bloody Marys from time to time, and that right there is a fantastic recipe that you could sell. If you ever wanted to, because that right there would be a fantastic base for a Bloody Mary. But nonetheless, man, it was delicious. I was saying this morning, I tasted some tomatoes, some garlic. I didn't want to keep going though, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to give away the recipe. You know what I mean? But it was fantastic. What'd you think about your juice, John? What did you have?
Well, actually just opened it because I wanted to actually drink it and try it right here on the show. And I can tell you it's fantastic. It is a awesome, great juice. What is in this one here, brother?
Apple and ginger.
Apple and ginger. Yeah. What made you get into juicing?
Well, used to be 312 pounds, size 48 waist, had a heart murmur, I was a borderline diabetic, and I want to live, so I went to massage school and learned about the body. If you don't know the body, then you're treated bad.
Awesome. So 300 something pounds and a 48 waist. That's not what I saw last night, brother. So shouts out to you for that accomplishment there. Absolutely. Now, how long have you been kind of doing the Cheffty business?
The business full time has been 2 months, but I've been juicing and distributing juices on and off since 2006. And with knowledge, you grow, and learning different minerals that the body needs through different herbalists. Bring Stoner One here in Louisville. I mean, if you want to learn from someone else and go get it right here, go to Frank and learn too. Also, but you got to learn. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're putting in, you just put in what others tell you.
Tell us about
juicing. To be able to bring it.
Tell us. Go ahead.
To be able to bring the juice to people at a healthy price, an affordable price, and it's nothing more important than your health. So that's what my mission is right now, to bring it to the public.
Yeah. Tell the people the effects that juice can have on your health and how it can improve your health in the different formulas, the juices that you can put together. Because I'm sure you have different types of juices for different reasons. So give us a little information about juicing and how does it work for juicing opposed to smoothies and eating foods.
All righty. First of all, smoothies, most time you have to drink them cold. I prefer something room temperature, like you see your juice out now, letting it get room temperature to where your body can absorb it a lot better, and nutrient broken down into a juice form is able to penetrate the cellular walls better than taking it in any other form. So, and my weapon right now during this pandemic is ginger mainly. Ginger. And like I said, yin and yang, you don't have a yin and yang, you gotta have something to go with that ginger. You gotta have a yin and a yang, you gotta have a male and a female, you gotta have a hot and a cold. It all has to go together. So taking my time and learning how to put the right ones together is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I remember when I met you. Of course, I didn't know we had met further back, but I remember seeing you when you were at the Shawnee Center with the vegetables and fruits. And I remember that when I knew then that you knew something about farming and how to grow food. How important it is for us to know how to grow our own food, because I know that's one of your talks.
Well, everybody's got to eat, and like you were saying earlier, the brother that's coming on later's got weapons. But if you ain't got no healthy body, that weapon ain't gonna do you no good. And the ice storm that came back in, I think it was 96, 98, around that time.
I remember that.
Shut everything down for like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And if you can't get access to food through these stores, who's going to be bringing you something that you don't know where it comes from, you don't know how long it's been sitting, you just don't know where it's coming from. Why not grow your own? Why not grow your own? It's not easy for everybody. I mean, we out here working for other people instead of working for self, and you're on their time schedule, you're on their rush, and then you get a half an hour to eat. And if you're not bringing your lunch, well, some situations, you bring your lunch, but you eat it early. There's no control in that. So we got to learn to when to put in and how much to put in our bodies to make ourselves a healthy person. So basically, grow your own. It's easy to grow some herbs in your window. You can make herb teas. You can go out here when the leaves off of trees and look at the barks and learn the barks of trees and make your own teas. That's a healthy factor right there also. But nothing is more important, better yet, Mother Nature. Name one thing that you use that don't come from Mama Nature on this earth.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely. I do a lot of basil because it seems to be easier, or one of the easiest to do. I chop it up, I put it in everything. Sometimes I just break the leaves and we'll drop it in my water, break the leaves, and I'm thinking now, I'm like, man, I should be doing tea with it too, or dropping it in my tea in addition. But I like to add fresh herbs when I cook anyway. Fresh ingredients. Even if I love vegetables, so I chop up, put vegetables in, but I cook with it. But then at the end, I always drop some raw on top as well, just because I like that. I like that texture, and I just, in my mind, I'm thinking, any way that I can get it to add the raw is essential. How important is it juicing? And we're talking raw fruits and vegetables. How important is the raw?
The raw is very important. For one, like certain juices, people can buy a juicer, but if you ain't buying the right one, it might heat up that food that you processing. And anytime you put heat to anything, it basically starts killing that cell. And if you can get it raw, even in my juices, I mean, I hate to say it, but bottled water, everything, if you put a cap on it and close it up and seal it up, there's no more oxygen going to that cell that's killing it. When you got oxygen depleted, it kills everything. So putting it in raw, can't get no better. Can't get no fresher. Can't get no realer. It's straight up raw to you.
Now, go ahead and tell people, when it comes to what you do, because you deliver your juices as well, but you have a couple different programs that people can get on when it comes to getting your juices delivered on a weekly basis.
Okay, my name's Gasira, Hakika, right there. You can look me up on Facebook. You can look up a few different places. Ag in the City also is where we used to bring the produce, and we bring that produce back to you. But what my plan is a 7-day juice comes to you. 4 juices on Friday, 3 juices on Tuesday, and that way you have a fresh juice every day. The price of that with delivery, $40. Where else can you go get fresh delivered to your door like that at that price? You can add sea moss, you can add different teas, you can add things to your juices for a different price. And if you got a problem with getting on Facebook or any other place, call me at 502-996-3673.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Now, I believe you have a upper echelon level of juices as well, and you throwing some mushroom in there, and it's not your traditional Baby Bell. It's you throwing some lions in there, some lion mushroom. I mean, you got all type of stuff, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that have never heard of some of those mushroom names. What's the importance of adding the mushroom when you do get into that upper echelon level of juice?
All righty. Portobellos, the button cap, those typical mushrooms we got. If you look up the benefits behind them, it's basically just a filler and a eye pleaser. And if you're eating food just for the taste, you're eating it for the wrong reason. You need to eat it for the health. So getting out there in nature, you're finding lion's mane, turkey tail, reshi, chaga. Now here I haven't found none in Louisville, but I get it from good sources. Chaga. And if you just look up the benefits of mushrooms, it's amazing. And I'm not no doctor, I'm not no nutritionist, but I know about my body, I know about beef body. So that turkey tail is powerful at fighting off cancers. That lion's mane, if you cut it in half, it looks like the brain, and it's good for the brain. The minerals in these mushrooms that we're not on every day is amazing, such as there's one called the chicken of the wood. It looks like chicken and it tastes like chicken. So if me quote as a black person loves chicken so much, why didn't they tell us about chicken of the woods? It's healthier for you. It's not killing another life. Because that chicken's got babies, that chicken got eyes, that chicken talks to you. I mean, why? Why are we following these people? And you got to have a healthy mind to be able to make positive decisions on yourself. And otherwise, you are a sheep. You just being herded. You might go to side A, but side B, but it's still one person controlling that. Control your own self.
Hey, man, we might have just started a whole new line of food. Chicken mushroom. I'm about to go get some chicken mushrooms and open up a chicken spot. All mushroom. There we go. Hey, but listen, you said ag in the city, so now I know that I actually do know you from before. We've texted in the past, grabbing y'all used to. There was something set up over there, I think, off of Amy, in a store parking lot over there. I used to set up a thing. I used to go over there and grab some fruits and veggies. I think you used to work with LVK, right? Louisville Vegan Kitchen. Yes, no, maybe not. Back in the day. Okay. But I think you and I have.
If I see that face, then I might.
Yeah. They used to set up and do some vegan cooking out in Shawnee. But I remember you specifically, now that I'm thinking about it, with the fruits and vegetables. So that's what's up, man. So you've been doing this stuff for a minute, for a while, and farming. I know Brother John Yah said this morning, he said he's into farming. And so, yeah, now it's all starting to come together as to how serious you are when it comes to these raw fruits and vegetables, man. You are the brother in the city that's pushing it. So, man, we appreciate you. Absolutely. Any last questions there, Brother Yah?
No, basically, I want everybody to know to hook up with this brother. Again, we need to learn how to grow our food and how to eat better. It's seriously important, and how to eat, what to eat. Get away from the frying of foods and get away from these fried chickens and all this fast food if you want to improve your health, specifically around this time of the year with all the different common colds with the extra names to it, right? So appreciate you, brother, for coming on. And if you want to do one more shout out of where they can find and reach you.
Again, my name right there, Gasira Hakika, is on Facebook, or you can give me a call and text me at 502-996-3673. And I also want to give a shout out to Stephen Lewis over at Ag in the City, the master gardener of Louisville, Kentucky, Jefferson County. He's a bad brother. But I've been teaching kids since 2006 how to grow your own. So you got to start with them seeds. You got to plant the seed in a seed when they're very young, and let them develop their own way, because it's not one way of doing anything. Yeah, that's 502-996-3673. Get at me today, Gasira Hakika, and Swahili Bold Truth.
All right, brother, you ain't do nothing but bring the bold truth today. So we appreciate you, man. You always got a spot here on the Tipping Point Morning Show, and we'll see you next time, man. We might even we'll touch base here in a little bit and see if you want to join us for the after show. Peace, brother.
Yes. Thank you for having me on. All right, peace.
All right, man. So powerful stuff. I know we have another brother that's going to be calling in here in just a second, and I believe he may already be on the line. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I give a big shout out to some of our sponsors real quick, healthdaddywow.net. And guess what, folks? you can still get 10% off online, healthdaddywow.net, if you type in tipping in the code there, in the code space where you the little discount code, type in the word tipping, TIPPING. You can also walk into the store and you can say, hey, I heard it on the Tipping Point show. Guess what? You're gonna get 10% off as well. But again, that's healthdaddywow.net. You can hit them up locally. You can look them up on they're on Google. They're on Google Maps. You can find them. Just Health Daddy Wow is all you got to do to look them up. And guess what? Healthdaddywow.net if you want to go ahead and place an order. Once again, hit them up and tell them you heard it right here on the Tipping Point Morning Show. Sayababa, SYABABA.com. That is Abibi Toomey Trading Company, folks. They have the Sayababa and Soap Sticks products, from the big fat boy incense to all of the different fragrances. Man, it is a wonder to walk through the warehouse and just get a tour and hear everything from Brother Yah. If you ever want to just check it out, man, just hit him up. I'm sure you guys know him on Facebook is Esoteric Concepts, but hit him up and he might grace you with that tour. Your mind's got to be right though. But again, SYABABA.com. Check them out. You can order. It's going to take you to the BB Toomey Trading website as well. You can order all day long, folks. Just remember, SYABABA, Sayababa.com. And once again, GodsLivesMatter.com. Every life has infinite value. All right. That's what they stand by. Okay. So GodsLivesMatter.com. Make sure you hit them up, hit the apparel link on there. And that's how you can show your support with God's Lives Matter, is by hitting that apparel link. I think they came out with some new apparel. I might grab it. It's got the 100 symbol on there to keep it 100, right? Because that's what we need to be doing, is to keep it 100. With that in mind, folks, again, that's GodsLivesMatter.com. Make sure you hit them up. Shout out to them, and go check them out, see what they got on the website there. And you may want to become a Private Alliance supporter. Once again, it is your Tipping Point Morning Show, and I believe we have our next guest on the line, and that is Brother Nathaniel Ward of Rhino Research Group, I believe. So, Brother Ward, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Welcome to the Tipping Point Morning Show family. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, brother.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, John, tell us how you kind of came across this brother, and then we'll get him to tell us a little bit about himself and explain exactly what he does.
Well, I was invited to speak at a Black Panther Party event, or not an event, but a workshop, actually. And that's where I met that brother. And from there, we hooked up on Facebook. But I had been seeing that he was interested in weapons, of course, and I've always been fond of weapons myself. And so, he was doing the cleaning and showing these different weapons. I was like, wow, And so next thing you know, I'm seeing this brother doing the training thing. So that's kind of where I became more interested, and it got bigger and bigger for him. I started seeing him on more and more. So, brother, that's why I wanted to invite him on the show to talk about it, because I think it's very important, the work that he's doing. And I think a lot of people need to know about where he's at and who he's with. So, brother, tell us about the company, the group that you're with, and what y'all do.
Sure. So, first I'm gonna just clear up is the Rhinox.
Rhinox.
With the Rhinox. We are located downtown Louisville, 1300 West Muhammad Ali, in the LCCC building. What we do, as myself and the company I'm with, I'm a certified firearms instructor through that company. I had to go through the training. Black-owned business owner, Aaron McGahee. And we work off of 5 pillars of safety, handling, awareness, prevention, training, breaking bad habits, making proper training routine, education, learning proper techniques, nomenclature, protection, how and when, and defense. The mindset, of a defender and an aggressor.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
So with a lot of that in mind, then when we really look at things, how important is this understanding, or how important do you believe this understanding is in this day and age?
Wow. So in this day and age, we live in a world where, we've heard this growing up that, there's predators, there's prey, there's victims, et cetera, et cetera. This is very important because it kind of puts us in a dynamic that, what we have been and where, we've always relied on someone else to protect us. If something goes serious, it gets crazy, we call 911. Where now what we're doing is we're trying to make this person the defender and to rely on him or herself to protect themselves in a situation instead of always relying on outsourcing.
So this is a situation where now it's, you call 911 and say, listen, here's the situation. I got it covered, but I'm just letting y'all know so you can come pick them up. Is that where we at with it now?
Well, yes and no. All right, so pretty much when it comes down to, the state that we're in, it's a stand your ground state, so we have the right to defend ourselves. There's definitely ramifications after you are put in a defensive situation. Yes, you will be calling the police, but yes, you will be calling your attorney as well. There's a lot that goes into that, but see, a lot of us, we don't know. A lot of us feel that, hey, if he comes in my face, I'm going to handle business and that's it. No, it gets deeper than that. And so one of the courses we do teach at the academy is the concealed carry deadly weapons course, which goes into detail behind violent encounters and the aftermath of such. And also that goes into the legal use of force. We definitely want to make sure that when we're out here and we're living our lives and we are put in a defensive situation, we're doing it legally. A lot of times, due to the lack of information and education, a lot of us are out here doing things illegally and wondering why we're facing the jail time that we're facing, or that the system is not on our side. And a lot of that stems from not knowing when and how to do such.
So basically, you're saying that y'all train, and it's almost like I understand it, and even in the arts, when to strike based upon somebody's movement coming at you. So what you're teaching is so that the person is right within the legality of the law of proving that they were in self-defense when it happened. Because you can see some people who carry guns, man, their ego and chest pump out, and just for an argument, they'll pull the gun out, and that ain't the reason they should pull the gun out. So what you teach is basically how to hold restraints until someone actually violate your rights that makes it the reason that you end up having to use a weapon.
Yes. And we also try to teach avoidance and awareness. There's a lot of times that we're in situations that we kind of see that they're heating up, but we just sit there. There's a lot that goes into, like I said, the how and the when. In an encounter, if you see it beforehand, your best option is to avoid it at all costs. You don't want to engage in something like that. But in the event that you have to, meaning you have no other option, then that's when the legal use of force comes into play.
Gotcha.
So here's a question now. I know with I believe shotguns, you got to go. What is it? Buckshot. You can't just load them up with normal regular bullets. You got to go what duck bullets and then deer bullets, something like that. You can't just is that with every gun? Is there stipulations in a lot of places where with guns you got to go like I got a 40 cal, so it's target bullets and then my hollow points, target bullets, my hollow points, and then hollow, 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 hollow. How does that work?
All right. So when it comes down to ammunition, if you're going to the range or you're shooting targets, then yes, that would be best to having your gun at that particular time. There are hollow points in what's considered home defense rounds, and those stem from A to Z as far as types of ammunition. So if you're a home defender or you're a defender, like myself, when I carry not the target round. I'll carry as a hollow point or home defense round. This way, when it enters a target, it mushrooms out and it slows down. So this way, I don't over penetrate. And that's one of the key things when it comes down to any ammunition that you choose, be it for a home defense gun or your personal firearm that you carry for protection. You want to make sure the ammunition is right for its cost. So if you're protecting yourself in a defensive situation, you want to make sure you have your hollow be a defensive round. So this way you don't over penetrate and want to hit a target behind or going through that target, hit something behind them. So you in shotgun situations, the same thing with the over penetration. If you use a slug, a deer slug, it will impact your target, but it has the chance to go through that target and through a wall. And if you have kids and your wife's in the home, you don't want to put them in danger.
Trying to defend your home and then putting your family in danger. It'd be crazy. Now we had a question from social media. They're wondering, what are your thoughts regarding the road rage incident in Valley Station the other day? The reports state that the man was walking up to his car when the brother shot him. Any thoughts on that?
All right. So, road rage within itself is a thing that, we all have had it. Once I've taken my training and I've educated myself on it, I've learned how to dismiss it. And the reason why I've learned how to dismiss it because in a legal situation, I want to make sure that I'm covered. But my thoughts on it is, like I said, Kentucky's a stand your ground state. So the law states if you feel like your life is in danger, you have the right to defend yourself. Now, in the event of someone approaching your vehicle, if they have a weapon in hand or anything like that, even if them approaching you being trying to snatch you out, that's putting harm on. That could be harmful to you. So as a defender, it's about the frame of mind that you're in. Now, me personally, if I can get away, by all means, I'm going to drive away. If I can't drive away and I'm put in that position, I will defend myself.
Yes, because the best defense is to turn around and leave, actually. But let me ask you this question. Now tell us about women. Are you finding that more women are now coming in for training for weapons?
I'm glad you actually hit that point. All right, so as being an instructor, I'm originally from New York, Brooklyn, New York, and the gun laws in New York are terrible. It's like the worst I can think of. So being in Kentucky and being here for the 10 years I've been here, I've gotten into I've been into firearms since I've been taking my first year. But now that I'm a certified instructor, one of my missions or one of my goals is definitely educating more women. And the reason for that is me growing up, witnessing domestic violence in the home. I have stories I can definitely share. I knew that wasn't right. So my outreach is definitely to educate more women who are in situations like that, domestic violence situations, even boyfriend situations where, you know, they're still hopeless because they don't have the training, because, you know, statistically speaking, more men have firearms. And when it comes down to domestic violence, a lot of women are in that situation more than men. So my outreach and one of my goals is to really reach out to a lot of women and get them in class, get them properly trained, knowing to what to do in the event that they have to defend themselves and defend their children. You know, their mama bears got if they want to defend themselves and their cubs. So that's been my goal, to outreach to more women that come in and get the proper training. So this way, no more victims. That's my goal. No more victims.
That's awesome. I know a sister, and she's probably listening right now. I know she's into training. She goes to the range on a regular basis. And I remember her telling me this story of a gentleman that wanted to take her out on a date. They went out to talk, and she asked him, "Do you go to the range? Do you shoot? Do you own a firearm?" And she said no. He doesn't mess with weapons. She knew then that relationship was over. She said, I am not going to have a man and her coming and shoot her at the back door, and he wakes her up. So she said she couldn't do it. If her brother ain't out there knowing how to shoot, baby, she said, I ain't with it.
Wake up, baby, wake up. It's somebody at the door. Get your gun. Get your baby. Yeah, no, that don't sound right.
Well, us
go ahead.
We are natural protectors, man, and definitely, as us as men, we are natural protectors, and that's definitely, if you're in a situation where, you know, you have a girlfriend, a wife, and, you know, y'all in the home together and something like that, it would be more natural for a guy to jump up and, you know, or her to tap the man and, hey, can you go see what that is, that noise, that bump in the night. But also for her to be trained and skilled as well. You know, and not trying to, you know, off the negative aspect, but more of a Bonnie and Clyde type thing. You know, it's, believe it or not, it's something that you can definitely train together with, bond with, because I mean, there's a lot of sisters who are into firearms but just don't know how to get into it. And it's a lifestyle as well. So, you know, some of the lifestyle changes, you know, women are not really quick to adapt to. But yeah, man, that's funny, man. That's funny.
Let me ask you this, and this is based on party line. Sure. You would have the Democratic Party trying to strip away guns, while you had the Republican Party maintaining the constitutional right to bear arms. What's your opinion on that?
Mm-hmm. Man, my opinion on the parties. Well, for me personally, I really don't deal with parties. With our constitutional rights, a constitutional right. I'm a Second Amendment lover, advocate, and I'm pro Second Amendment. Now, as far as the Republicans wanting it, the Democrats not wanting it, or trying to restrict it to the point where it's really, really dismal and thin, I'm not for it. I'm against that for sure. Like I said, I'm a pro-gun person, and the thing is, especially with us as African Americans, our black gun ownership is really, really. I mean, it's slim, and we're behind the curve in training and ownership when it comes down to it. So that's another one of my goals as well, is to break the stigma. You know, just because I'm an African American male with a firearm doesn't make me a gangbanger, doesn't make me a thug. Yeah, it makes me American, just like everyone else, who loves the Second Amendment right and wants to exercise it.
You know,
that's awesome.
The beautiful thing is that there's 320 million Americans, and there's way more than 320 million guns. Even though not every American is a gun owner. But with that being said,
right,
then what do you think about gun manufacturing and the ownership of that? Because it's interesting how some will talk about, you know, having a race war or what have you. And the reality is that we don't own no Smith & Wesson manufacturing. We don't own, you know, none of that I know of. So if you know, anything was to break out, you know, you talk about stopping the sale of this, that, or the other. To me, that's a concern as well. Do you ever think about things from that perspective as to who's making the guns and how we can, as a community get more involved in that side as well?
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned the numbers. There's millions of 200 million Americans and way more guns. I own 14 of them. So you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of tools out here to educate. Yeah, there's a lot of tools out here to educate yourself with and practice with and learn how to use. And I mean, if you have a firearm for home protection or protection, to kind of put yourself in the realm that what happens if you have to put food on your table. You know, I have a couple of rifles and I train with those as well for hunting and stuff. But to get to your question about gun manufacturing, when it comes down to the major companies, I don't think they look at, you know, what could be. It's a business. So, you know, they're making a product that is bought and sold and bought to the people. Now, I mean, race wars and everything else like that. I mean, to me, that's all talk. I just know I'm capable and I have the means to defend myself. When it comes down to, I mean, if you're putting responsibility on the gun ownership, manufacturers, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying, I feel like we need to get into making some. You know, we need to get into making some ourselves as a community.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. That's one of my next steps in this is besides getting as much training that a civilian can have in combat and tactile training. I want to also get into gunsmithing. You know what I'm saying? The good thing about this and the funny thing about this stuff is readily available to everybody.
Yes.
It's not broadcasted, but it's readily available to everybody.
Even from a 3D printer standpoint, if anybody ever followed that story of that gentleman, I think he's still wanted and they still, you know, they know where he's at. But I don't know if they arrested him yet, but yeah, he was doing 3D printing of I think some 9mm, and he was selling the plans so that the average American could do it with their own 3D printer, which is on the line real quick. Which is interesting. So listen, I think we have a caller on the line real quick. Caller, welcome to the show. We just got a couple minutes here. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just want to say that we talk about protection. That Emmett Till's uncle knew that the government was going to back him. He could have protected Emmett Till from the guys that mob coming into his home, taking that little boy out of his home. I'm just going to talk about the importance that moving in 2022, it is our business, me, Sean, Ben, that we learn how to use systems to protect moving forward. So having arms and learning how to defend ourselves, we didn't have it before, but we can do it now in 2022. That's all I want to drop in there, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you asking me, Sean. So, you know, and that's important. And we may get into that more on the after show. Nate definitely wanted to let you know that I did send you, I think you've seen it in Messenger, the link to get on the after show. If you'd like to join us for a few, then we'd love to have you. Once again, folks, you know, this has been yet another amazing episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show. Nate, let everybody know real quick before we go how they can get in touch with you and your business.
Sure. All right, so my phone number is 502-218-2792. And I'm at the Rhinox Research Group in the LLC building at 13 West Muhammad Ali, right downtown.
Awesome. Good stuff, folks. So again, shout out to you and your business, man. Nothing but good fortune to you, and appreciate everything that you're doing. We will catch you folks once again next week on the Tipping Point Morning Show. Until then, peace.
Peace.
All right. So we're moving into the after show. Give us a second, folks, while we regroup. Coming right back to you. All right. Good stuff.
All right.
You are listening to the Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, the Tipping Point Show.
That's what's up. And we got brother T-Dog with us. And you can unmute yourself at this point on the screen there, family. How you doing?
Happy, man. Happy. I got to run outside real quick. I got to find these goggles before I get in trouble. I'll be right back.
It's all good, man. We'll be right here. Man, John, fantastic show. A lot of knowledge dropped there on the first, the radio point of our show. What'd you think about everything you heard?
I was awesome. Love that brother. Nathaniel, he really articulated the no doubt educated brother that talked about our rights, and he definitely knows. I knew this brother knows about weapons as much as I've seen him post weapons and doing the things he was doing. He showed one weapon. I remember saying, man, let me go with you on that range, on that bad boy, right? So I, definitely. And then I started seeing him with the group, man. I thought it was awesome what he's doing. So I kind of thought at that point he found his niche in training, man. So these kind of brothers we need in our circle, man. We need this, how to grow our own food, how to eat right, how to grow our own food, and how to protect ourselves. I think it's very important. I think myself, I've always been into the firearms, of course. And I also been into martial arts and always about defending myself. Also with learning how to eat better and to take care of my health, independently away from society's view of what. And I think that's why I gravitated or resonated with what the brother was talking about, because I think, yes, if you are an adult, if you are a child, you still need to learn how to use a weapon, and you should have the right frame of mind in using a weapon, because there's a lot of ego people walking around with weapons who will poke their chests out because they got a gun, but wouldn't do the same if they didn't have a gun. So I always tell people, listen, if you got a gun or not, learn how to walk away, because you don't want to shoot nobody. You don't want to be in that position. So if you can walk away, walk away. It's just that simple. You don't, just because somebody said, hey, motherfucker, you ain't got to talk back just because you got a weapon. Learn how to walk away. I know this, the best defense is to run. And if they put you in a corner and you got nowhere else to go, then you have every right to shoot someone. And if I train my daughter to shoot, I train her how to kill. You don't want to just shoot somebody. No, you want to kill them.
Yeah, I think I seen some videos of that with you with your daughter at the range. It's interesting. Sorry about that. It's interesting when you talk about people who are used to guns and those that aren't. Do you find it because I know the first time that I met you, I think was it at the warehouse? First time we met face to face?
Yes.
Okay. And I remember your piece laying there, and I guess my thought right now is, you know, myself being a gun owner, having a few guns, then I'm not, you know, it doesn't bother me when I see other people's guns and, you know, laying by them or on their person or what have you. But for some, you know, that bothers them. That's a concern. You know, they may be scared or what have you. You know, do you notice any difference with different mindsets as it pertains to their ideology behind people with guns?
You know, I'm not sure, but you know, in my space is one thing. When I'm out is another. People don't know what I'm doing and what I carry when I'm out. I don't advertise it. I don't show it or none of that. And so, but in my space, you may see something on my side hidden. You may see, you know, you may happen to just see it based on how I am. But in my space is one thing. My particular space is one thing. While I'm out is another. And so just as well as I know how to defend myself physically without a weapon, I know how to defend myself with a weapon. And so it's based upon the danger. Of course, I have a warehouse. Of course, I have a company, and I don't let anybody come in my space. It's not a space where people come in and out. It is not a warehouse where people come and purchase. So the people that works with me at the warehouse is mainly the only people that are allowed in that space. It's very particular of who I allow, because another thing is that what I do is a secret in a sense, very confidential, of letting people, as you see, coming in my warehouse and how my warehouse is set up, right? How to make a product is actually hush hush and what I reveal. And so, you know, I don't show that space as much in how it's done. Now, I may do some videos of the warehouse, but you will never see the methodology of how I package and put my products together. That I do not show, that I don't want out there. So I'm very private in my settings of how I operate. So in a sense, you have to be in my space to know them personal things. A lot of people don't know how deep I am into the arts. I don't advertise it. You don't see me doing no arts on video or none of that. I don't push that narrative when I'm speaking, nor when you see me.
I seen it once. I think it was Miss Myers shared a video, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, all right, John. I was like, that's a bad mamma jamma right there. You don't wanna. But you know what's interesting when it comes to the arts, when you really think about martial arts versus carrying a weapon, then in real training, proper training, they both teach you to walk away first.
Exactly.
They both teach you that this or this is a last resort. It's not about getting out there and boasting. I know when my parents put us in martial arts when I was younger, it was to control our temper, because you know, I think, you know, having a quick temper, and I'm the oldest of 4 boys, and so, you know, we would wrestle, scuffle, and stuff like that growing up. But with that in mind, it was about controlling our temper and such. That was kind of the first thing as to why they put us in there. And then there was so many things that you learn down the road, and it wasn't about going out in public and having a show of force all the time. It was simply about just being able to defend yourself as a just in case. Welcome to the show, brother Nate. Again, we've got the Tipping Point Morning after show. Welcome. Absolutely. So we were just talking about you know, self-defense and how even when it comes to physical, martial arts defense, as well as weaponry defense in good, proper training, both teach you to walk away. Now, when you talk about health defense, immune support, you need to walk towards it, right? Ain't that right, brother Tito?
Yeah, Tadell.
Tadell, my fault, family, my fault.
You can use them weapons all you want, but like you said, that's self-defense. You gotta learn to control self first. Can y'all hear me good?
Yes, sir.
All right, self-defense first. I mean, like you said, if you can't control yourself, you can't. And if you think you can control somebody else, you sadly mistaken. You can't control nothing else. Nobody else do. You can only control yourself.
Yeah, you need a vaccine shot for that.
Yeah. It's very interesting. One of the things I've learned over the years is understanding character of people. And so what I've learned to do that keeps me protected is that if I think you are unintelligent based on the way you talk, I'm going to make sure I stay out your way. And that's the first defense. It's based on reading people when you meet them. That I know I don't want to fool with this person because they're lacking intelligence. And I don't want them to pull me into any situation. So the walking away, I like what the brother said about understanding the situation first. And that's an extremely important that people don't know about understanding the situation. I like to even go further and say that I look at people based on how they phrase words and how they carry themselves. And those are images we need to see when you walk and you even near someone. That I recognize that if I feel you lacking intelligence, one form of intelligence, I'm going to make sure I stay out your way. And that's extremely important so that I don't have to be engaged into something and then poured into it. I like what Nate said when he talked about understanding that situation before you have to pull out a gun or in that situation is the first be like, and you have to help. Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have is ego, swallowing the ego. Just because someone says something to you don't mean you have to respond and pull you in and pull you low. Walking away is the best defense that you can have.
Absolutely. And that goes with what Brother Tadal said in being able to control yourself. Now, how important is that when you talk about self-control? How is that taught, or how much do you guys speak to that, Brother Nate, when you're talking and training?
Did he freeze up? Like he froze up on us.
Okay, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. It's been choppy, a little choppy.
But when you think about self-control, how important is that as you guys are training and teaching?
All right. So from a training standpoint, your control that's like rule number one. You got to be able to control your breathing. When things are chaotic around you, you got to be able to maintain a level of control. It just goes. You mistake. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way. You want to make a situation worse. So if you can control yourself, you can eventually control the situation around you by be it you find a place, time, and leave, avoid it, or plan mentally, and then and that all that takes control. I can agree. Like I've done Wing Chun, so I'm a martial artist myself, and control is key. I mean, if you're working in a chaotic space and you can't control yourself, your punches are not going to come crisp. They're not going to become accurate. You're going to overstep or misjudge something because you're out of control. So even in the firearms thing, control is definitely key. You got to be able to hold properly, breathe properly, make sure your sight picture's on properly. So that goes hand in hand.
Man, so self-control is important across the board. And when we start talking self-control, what about, how does that play out when you start talking about eating and what we do or how we lose control when it comes to our eating in this day and age? You know, I know Tadal, you said that you had, you came from 300 pounds, right? And so now, there's a certain level of self-control that you have as it pertains to eating and nourishing the body. How does that play out there?
So when I started teaching kids how to garden, the situation was police that came through and slammed a couple of little teenagers in the yard. They got all this energy, man. They're out there just playing, and you know how we get, what is a stereotype that the little nigglets is out there just doing bad. Taught them to exercise that energy and your mindset, because if you think negative, you tell 1 trillion cells, unhealthy cells in your body, that they're going to be in a negative situation. So you always think positive first, because we got to think anything before we can do anything. Now, when you get in that garden, that's self-control. That's taking yourself out of all evil situations, because when you look at a plant, that's meditation right there. You're looking at that plant, everything else disappears around you. It teaches you to breathe, and that plant gives you that oxygen. You got to control yourself before you can do anything else. And then without a healthy mind and a healthy body, you can think negative. So just put that positive thoughts in yourself no matter what, and that can take you out of almost any situation. If somebody's coming at you and they want something from you, it's a physical thing. You can get that back. You can't get this physical thing back. You can't get it back if you're treating it bad. So you got to learn to treat this physical thing right before you can handle anything else. And that's on a nutrition level.
That's what I'm talking about. That's it right there. Absolutely. John, you are walking down the street and someone comes up behind you to stick you up. You know martial arts and you have a piece on you. Are you telling them, go ahead and take it, leave me be? Or are you not allowing them to take it?
That depends on the situation, and that depends on who it is and where I'm standing. It can be different scenarios to that situation. My first thought is get home to my grandbaby. My very first thought is in my mind, I'm going to get home today to my grandbaby. And I allow that thought to penetrate whatever is around me that's going to be in my favor. So it's going to be based on the situation, how close they are to me, what kind of gun they have, if they have a gun and not have a gun. And so those kind of things are weighed based on that. Now, number one, money means nothing to me. So if he's robbing me for money, he could have all I got, but he better not slip trying it. But he can have all I got. I'm willing to pull out all my money for him and throw him out and throw it on the ground. But now if he's there to physically harm me, and I know he's there to physically harm me, regardless of the money, that's a different ball game. That's a life or death situation. That means either he's going to die or I'm going to die, right? So it's based upon my mindset why I think he's there. If I think he's here to kill me, then it's the no bar game. It's over with, right? I'm going to either die, which I'm not afraid to do, or I'm going to kill him. So it's just, but if he's there for my money, he said, hey, give me your money. I'm allowed to pull out all my money and let him take it. But he better be very careful. He better be fucking very careful, right? So money don't mean nothing to me. I can get that back. So I'm not worried about it. I'm in the hood all the time with my product. I've never been robbed once, because you know why? I surveillance the area where I'm at. Before I walk into a store, I'm surveillancing the area where I'm at. What type of brothers are hanging out in front of the store? What do they look like? One of the things, because I came from the streets and I done been to prison, right? One of the things I understood as a person who have killed somebody before was that I know the mentality of the street. If I see brothers hanging on the corner, I'm looking at two things they're looking at. If they're selling drugs, I'm not worried about them brothers. I'm looking for the opportunists. I'm looking for the ones that are looking for opportunists, right? And I may circle the block. I may just say, you know what, I'll come back in about another half hour. They ain't gonna be out here forever. So you have to judge your situation based upon, that's a training that we don't have enough talk about to talk about different scenarios, whether or not do I need to do anything or just stay in my vehicle and turn the other way.
Yeah, because the drug dealers, they busy. They actually got something to do. They doing something. They busy. It's the dude that's walking. No, it's the dude that's lurking. it's the one that's lurking, that's looking like he looking for something. You know what I mean? That's the issue right there. But Layla says something powerful here. She says, facts. I learned that people don't trigger you. They trigger your trigger. Triggers point to what you need to heal. You are responsible for your trigger and your healing. Uncle Michon says, in the first rule of military U.S. Armed Forces is to identify the threat, then you identify the level of the threat. So that kind of goes with what you were saying there, John, as well, in that hypothetical that I threw out there.
Nate, let me ask you a question. I remember when I first met you, you was at the seminar I was giving at the Panther Party. Was you that deep into weapons then?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is something that's been, like I said, since even when I was in New York, and like I said, firearms ownership is very, very hard to do as a resident of the state of New York. I've always been fascinated with firearms, how they work, the functionality of them, and things of that nature. So once I moved down here, and I knew I had much more freedom here than I did in New York, I kind of hit the ground running. I signed up to become I took my armed securities class to become an armed security officer because I was doing security in New York. But yeah, when we met, I was big into big. I mean, my passion, my love for firearms is still the same from back then to now. But more so now that I have more knowledge pertaining to training and education into it. I mean, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. And
now,
so yeah, but it was funny that you brought that up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
Oh yeah, it was funny that you brought that up about the situation, John, because in our class we teach that we use an analogy when it comes down to putting yourself in a situation or not. The analogy goes, picture you're at SeaWorld and you're at a shark tank. If your watch, your car keys, or something of that nature fell in the shark tank, you wouldn't jump in to get them, you know what I'm saying, because you can live without them, or you can replace them. But if your baby was to fall into the shark tank, you will, by all means, go and save your child. And that's very, very important. Like I said, the mindset that we try to open up people's minds to is that not every situation requires an armed response. You know what I'm saying? If you feel that, hey, I can get away and I can live to see another day, and I don't want to have to go through the legal ramifications of this thing, then it's best if I do that. But if you're in an alleyway and you have no way out, be it, that's your life's in danger, your life's in jeopardy. That's important, and that's when if you can think of that and say, hey, I need to defend myself because my life is in danger and there's no other option in that particular sense, then you respond.
There you go.
Go ahead. Look like you had something on your mind there, brother.
Speaking of Brooklyn, man, J Train,
yes,
about
sir.
that thing.
Hey, now, New York, the legalities there.
The J Train,
if I remember correctly,
yeah, man.
It's only. It's only what, PIs that can have guns out there outside of the police?
No. All right, so you as a citizen or a resident of the city of New York, you can have a firearm. However, what you have to go through from when I was there, when I tried to get my gun there for the first time, I got a application. I had to fill out an application. Then within that process, applications, you got to get 3 references. You also have to take a 40-hour training class. Once you purchase your firearm from a store, it stays at that store up to 1 year. And within that year, you have to do your 40-hour training class. Yeah, you got to have your references. These have to be clean. The kids know nothing. Because if you have a bad reference, you do the now I was talking a homegirl in New York. She's then went through the 40 hours and everything else, and now she has to interview to get a firearm. So yeah, the rules in New York, man, it makes it to the point where it's much easier to buy a gun illegally than to buy a gun legally. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I understand why a lot of the gun crime there is a lot of people are victims.
Man. So I mean, it's as if
because you
it's
do
as if
have
it'd be
citizens
better.
who really go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it just seems like it'd be better if they would loosen the legalities, or to make it easier for people to purchase a gun legally.
I think
That would be
I think it's a democratic state, my brother.
yeah.
That's why.
Hey, what was that tool that you had
It is.
earlier, Brother
It is.
Tadao?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, everyone.
a tool?
You were showing us
cool.
something.
My lovely African dig. So metal at the end, you can hang it, you can do whatever, but tap a motherfucker with that, and that's if it don't work, you tap them like that.
Oh, what you call it again? African what?
My little African diggy. Because
it looked like an African diggy.
That brain first, and if that brain don't want to let it come in, then it'll dig you like that. Pop that thing out. Yeah. But in New York, when I used to go up there, they used to tell me, "Oh, Tadal, it's not like the country where you're from, man. Louisville's not country. Kentucky might be some parts of it, but if you got that mindset that you can't go nowhere, that's setting a limit on what you can do." I always went everywhere, and wherever I went at, I had a ball, no matter what, because it was my mindset and my intentions behind it. If I see somebody, we get that stereotype that black people they mean mug you all the time. They might be trying to be like, "Don't I know you?" Then what are we looking at? It's all how you come at that person comes at you. If they coming at you with automatic aggression, I feel you, John, Nate. Defend yourself at all costs. All costs. And when I did do a little bit of training, the first thing they taught us was you stick your hand out, and that's your boundary. If anybody cross that boundary, that's number one. You got the right to defend yourself, hand on hand. But if somebody's coming in with a weapon, hey, hand on hand. That's where I'm at right now here. Take it. But like you said, if they want that money, I'll throw that money on the ground. It might be a different story after that. Been down to get it if you want
to. You set a trap for them. Throw the wallet like right here by my toe. they gonna bend down and pick it up, then pull out my African diggy. Knock them on the head.
I got an American diggy too.
Absolutely. What's on your mind, John?
Listen, I think it's extremely important to understand discipline. I think that's the problem with our children today, coming up with their ego, watching too many movies and think this is the movie shit. And just like studying the arts, that shit is not in real life, Jack. What you see in the movies is not real, even in studying the arts. So understand that the discipline is extremely important. This is what we're lacking. This is why killing is so easy for in this country, specifically in the hood, while we're killing each other, because we're talking about young men that don't have discipline. You put a gun in a person that don't have no discipline, it's over with. This is the difference between a soldier and a warrior. There's a difference. Soldier and a warrior, two different things. So just like when you go to the service, before they put a gun in your hand, you know what they're going to make you do? They're going to make you march until they can see that you can follow directions before they put that gun in your hand. They're going to teach you some discipline. That's why they do that. That's why they're called soldiers, right? Soldiers wait for orders. Warriors don't wait for orders. This is why you have prisons full of warriors, right? Because they have identified people that will not follow orders. There's a difference. Warriors don't wait on somebody to come and tell them what they got to do. They go figure it out themselves if they're smart. But if they're undisciplined, then that becomes the problem. You take a warrior in the street and he don't have no discipline, he'll kill anything and anybody. But here's the thing. No matter who you are, if you are a warrior, and most people that don't like warriors, wait until an intruder knock on your family member's door and watch them call you, right? They may not like because you into this and into that, but watch it when somebody knock on that door. Who they gonna want? They're gonna want that warrior, not a soldier. A soldier's waiting for orders, remember? A warrior's not waiting for orders. He's gonna take action immediately. That's the difference of the two.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when we look at this, then, what do we need out here in these streets today? Do we need soldiers? Do we need disciplined warriors? What is it that is lacking from a standpoint of our community when it comes to this conversation here?
We need black men like right here at this table to be able to have some type of rites of passage for these young boys to come under training and talk well. Like we talked about, where the elders would take the young boys from their mother and begin to give them training on how to become a man with discipline. That's very important, right? So what we have is a bunch of loose, out of control young warriors that are brainwashed in thinking that being hard is tough. You see them with all the tattoos on their neck. They are trying to image of being hard, but they have no discipline. The prison are full of these young men are followers of others, right? So you have to be able to think first. And that takes discipline to be able to think and be like, nah, I'm not doing that. Nah, I'm not hanging with you guys. Most people in gangs are people who are looking for a family, right? Warriors don't look for families, right? Because they kind of stand on their own, but lacking the discipline, he's out of control. There's a difference. And so what we have in the streets is a lot of young warriors with no discipline, no training, and probably, and most of all, no real father figures in their life. And this is why you have the ongoing killing amongst our people right now today that nobody wants to address, these young men without fathers, right? So we need some type of where we can have a training or some type of rites of passage outside of women, because here's why. And as I've been in prison before, when you put men in a compound with other men, that's a different type of man, opposed to men around women. You will see how manly, whether he's an alpha male or not, when you put him in a compound with just men, with no women in sight. Men act differently when there's a woman around, opposed to just men around. So this is what we need to be able to train young men, teach them the discipline like his brother's doing, teach them how to use a weapon, teach them how to eat food, right? And this is what we need for our young men that we do not have set up today that's going on in our community.
It goes back to witchcraft. They say witchcraft, but it's which craft are you good at? And that craft right there, you're supposed to enhance on that. I was raised by number women. They taught me how to cook. My grandmother stood me up on a stool and taught me how to boil an egg. If she didn't do that, I wouldn't be in the situation where I'm at now. My mother on Saturdays, instead of going out and play with kids or watch cartoons, she say, Tadell, grab that plant, grab that newspaper, grab that dirt. She taught me how to transplant. I didn't like it as a kid, but now I can't get it out of my blood. I thank them for what they instilled in me. But it made me become a man later because I had kids. I didn't have no father in my life, but to be in their lives, I knew that was needed. A father used to, back before, like last week we was talking about what was the downfall of the black family. They took the business that black people had out of the family. So the black man, even the black woman, used to teach that child a craft. something to do. It was a family business. And then we became to work for other people and then do what other people tell us to do. We used to fall in line instead of making our own line. And there's not a such thing as a straight line in nature. If you find one, let me know.
Any
Well,
thoughts
one of the
on
things I can
some of
say,
that, Nate? Do you guys get into
yeah.
working with the youngins as well? You know, any thoughts on what my brother just said?
Oh yeah, definitely. The way that most young individuals get the first introduction to a firearm is either through a rap video, a movie, you know what I'm saying, or a negative experience. So definitely, I would definitely love to work with children more to kind of get them um, around, or just to understand what this is, the safeties, and what it's used for, because every tool has a purpose. Um, right now, like I said, the depiction of what's shown, it's negative, all negative. You know, the only time you see anybody with a firearm is, like I said, a rap video, them shooting up and preaching to go kill the ops. In a movie when they're having a shootout with the police, the bad guys, good guys. So that's definitely number one, changing that imagery. Um, Number two, when it comes down to us as people, the reason why we have such of the biggest issues we have with young individuals and firearms, we don't introduce them to them. We keep them a hidden secret, and that builds curiosity. And within that curiosity, then it makes it to where they don't understand the purpose of it. They don't understand why we have it and why we need it. So they get curious, and then they wind up fiddling with it and wind up doing something silly, um, shooting themselves, shooting their brothers or sisters and stuff like that in the household, all because they didn't know what it was. Um, Most cultures, um, when it comes down to that, like think about it, in African culture, Native American culture, at a certain young age, they take their sons out to hunt to teach them the tools of the trade, and teach them the craft of hunting. They don't hide their spears or arrows or whatever they have to get the job done. No, they embrace it and they teach their children, their young boys, this upon rites of passage becoming a man. Here it's the other way around. We buy our firearms and we lock them up, we hide them from our children. You know what I'm saying? We don't explain to them that, hey, this is a tool for defense and hunting, to put food on your table. Um, if you ask any young African American boy or girl who knows about a gun, what is this for? Oh, this is to shoot my enemies. No, this tool has a purpose beyond that. You know what I'm saying? So definitely education is definitely one of the strong points. And one thing I can say when it comes down to us, yes, being fatherless homes has definitely played a big factor in a lot of our young men going astray. But also, I think too is we've gotten away from the village, from Africa. It takes a village to raise a child. A lot of us now, we just focus on ourselves and our home, our hut. We don't focus on the village and the community. And within that, we got a lot of people running wild out here, and there's no way to keep an eye or supervise on them, because one, nobody wants to be told about their child doing wrong. Two, it becomes a point where the parents are at each other's throats because one parent has tried to step in and discipline, in the sense of talking to your child. Don't talk to my child that way. No, 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 no. If my son is out here acting a fool and you catch it, yes, tell him no, that's not right, and then come tell
Man,
me so I can continue on. We abandoned that village and that village mentality, and that's been a big thing, because I mean, think about it. In the community, we see what goes on, but not a lot of us speak. And that goes from children to a lot of the misconduct out here. And I mean, I can go on for days about that. We need to take our communities back. And I mean,
We
I
can
know we have in the hood.
Go ahead,
talk
bro.
all
Go ahead, bro.
day, but we need to do some real physical. I mean, we can preach this all day, preach it, and try to hammer it in our head. We need to come together and get some land and create that village. And that was my goal. Main goal is to get my 40 acres and a pit bull back and teach the kids, because back in the day, they used to be able to go down to the country where their grandparents came from, and learn how to get out there and defend for yourself by somebody that was trained. I mean, not trained to go out in the city and fight, but trained to go out in nature and fight. You only defend yourself, your health, nothing else.
Yeah, every
So
piece
get
plays a
together and
great
get that
role.
plan.
Every piece plays a great role, and everyone has a certain talent that needs to come, because it's no one way. Everyone has a talent that should be brought together to pull this together. There is no one way. There is no one methodology. Each one has something to bring to the table. One thing I always teach is that everyone has a genius level of talent to offer to humanity, and that genius level of talent can be brought together in a community to be able to assist the community. Whether I'm teaching about business, whether somebody's teaching about health, whether somebody's teaching about weapons, whether somebody's teaching about how to help cook right? So all of it play a role. How to hunt, how to bring home, how to cut that deer open and eat from it, right? How to grow food and how to protect the community. I think all of these play a role, and we have to do it in a community setting, but it starts first with self. Because if you have nothing to offer to the village, you come with your handout. So everyone needs to first craft their own talent themselves and what it is they bring to the table. Brother Nate, when I met you, I didn't know. I think I've never had a conversation with you on this level, right? And so on the most part, that is something that you bring to the table that I'm impressed with, right? Because it plays a role in this pool that we come together and we sit at this table to be able to have a piece of land that we can grow our own food, protect it, knowing what we're doing with it. I think everyone comes with a different piece that I think that's very good for a successful village to make it.
What he was saying with the African village, they used to let the child run and do what they're gonna do, and then when they see what that child is good at doing, then the whole village comes in and enhances that.
Correct.
That ability that child has, and that's building that craft.
Exactly.
Man, we put all these knowledge. We got it all right here.
Exactly.
We got it all. It just needs to come together.
Yeah.
I asked my cousin, when would black people ever come together? He said, yeah, we all gonna come together in the grave.
Come together on Sunday and listen to that man. And get our prayer. That's an interesting thing too, because I've even when you bring up the subject of prayer, I've battled with the ideology that prayer is nothing without belief. Because if prayer, if just the simplicity of the idea of prayer worked, then my mom would still be alive, right? But prayer without it's the belief behind the prayer, and not just a collective belief is more important than anything else.
That
right?
prayer still goes back to self, because I can pray all day, God, please turn on the light. You still got to go up there and hit that switch.
That's because there's three parts to it. There's three parts to it. There's prayer, belief, and action. Belief is nothing without action. You can pray all you want, but if you don't believe, prayer won't work. And you can believe all you want, but if no action, belief don't work. So there's three actions you must be able to incorporate. You must be able to move forward and make things happen, because there's three different types of people in the world. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. Be the one that make things happen is the first move.
Because I feel like if you pray for someone and that someone, if it's just you one-on-one, you praying, for someone, for healing for someone. But if that someone don't believe in the healing, in the idea of the healing, then what good is that prayer, right? But I mean that's a sidestep. Look, I'm trying to share something. I want to see if I can share this. This was something that you post, John, that I thought was hilarious, and I watched it last night. It goes along with what we're speaking about. But let's see if I can make this happen. I believe I can. And let's see, share system audio. Let's see if this works. Let me go over here. This was hilarious. It's a young brother. It was a little TikTok video somebody made, I think, but young brother and some people were trying to get him to go out into the streets.
Yeah.
to get involved with the BS along with them, right? Let's see if we can make this work. Y'all let me know if there's sound or not.
Boy, that's hilarious.
When you're not straight for real.
I'm the straight savage. On hood. Banging hard.
Hey, blood, come on, let's go. Ready?
Oh, we going to the mall again, fam?
Nah, blood. We gotta go ride on a couple of ops.
We gotta go ride. What you mean? Like they coming too?
Oh, blood. We got some business we gotta take care of.
Some business.
Yeah.
Now, can you explain, please?
Blood, you got that strap on you?
My strap. You mean Velcro? Cause I don't wear them shoes no more, fam. I ain't wore those since about pre-K.
No, this serious.
Oh, you mean shoot somebody?
Yeah.
Oh no. No.
What you mean? Oh no.
I'm sick. Straight up sick. I swear. Sick. You talking about shooting somebody? You know that's 25 to life.
Man, I don't.
You don't care. You don't care. When them niggas in jail bending you over, you won't care then?
Ain't nobody gonna be bending me over. Let's go.
No, you can do that yourself. Wasting time. I'm gonna waste time in jail worrying about you, trying to look out for you. What about me? You gonna take a bullet for me? No, exactly. You trying to get me to shoot somebody. I don't even know what he did. What he do? Exactly. You don't even know.
Bro.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But that's true. That's what we've seen a lot of. A lot of these young brothers are out here carrying guns, doing foolishness, and not understanding. Like I look at this all the time when I'm watching the first 48 and stuff like that. Some of these brothers are getting 40, 50 years, but you're going in 20. At 20, if you do that 40 years, you're coming out and you're 60 years old. What do you plan on doing with your life at 60?
Wow.
Now, mind you, you have no training, you have no education. You mean you're just out here, and then you go away for 40 years and come back at 60 to re-enter the world. That to me, that's just like I mean, I'm 38, and I mean, there's a lot that I still have to learn, but I love every minute of my life. I cannot see myself doing 20 years, coming out at 58, almost 60, having to restart over.
Man, I just encourage, I know they say things like, people don't have a choice or when all these programs are taken out of the community, then we're left with no options. Man, look, I'm gonna just encourage anybody out there. If you thinking you about to go do some stuff to make some money because you just flat broke and you just, that's all you can think of is to go rob, listen, go to the library first. All right, it's just like when you're hungry, drink water first. But look, if you thinking on some stupid, go to the library first. Just go to the library. I just want you to go to the library and go grab a book. Just go to the business section, grab a book, and just read. That should be the testament for anyone out there. You about to do something stupid, just go to the library, sit in the business section, read one book first. If after reading that book you still feel like you won't go do something stupid, then go do what you do. But I'm just saying, man, it amazes me. I got a brother here in the city, does barbecue, this, that, and the other. Good dude, good-hearted dude. Couldn't even think that he would have done what he did. But at 17, trying to impress the OGs in his neighborhood or that he hung with or whatever, went and killed somebody for them. And 25 years later, he's out. And it's just like, wow, that's just, you know what I mean? 25 years of your life just gone on, some nonsense, some stupid stuff, trying to impress some guys.
Here's the problem. And we miss the real issue here that is the effect that no one wants to talk about. And that is the default program in the brain. Where the default program comes from is the information we're receiving from radio, television, and the music we're listening to. Music and television now has been weaponized against us, right? We just don't want to talk about it, and we don't want to look at that as the central problem with these young men and how they behave. 80% of our lives is habitual, meaning it is what has already been programmed into your brain, and this is why we do things over and over again the same way. We do things differently. So if you don't understand about the weaponizing of the music, specifically even in the frequency of sounds, there's a frequency, it's called 808. It's a low vibration frequency. It's in music. It's a heavy bass music that we listen to when we drive it. And then you put that with some lyrics. Go shoot them up. Fuck that hole. Go do this, right? Smoke that. You're talking about sending messages through that lower vibration, and that becomes the default program. So if you cannot address the default program in the person's brain, you can't tell a person to go to the goddamn law library or go to the library, because why their default program don't tell them that. So they're not hearing you, because it goes back to their mamas. What was the music their mama was listening to? What kind of food their mama was eating when she was pregnant? What if she was breastfeed? Do you know how many people are not breastfed today? These kids growing up not breastfed. That's extremely a problem. And if you are breastfed, is your mama off sugar? Because you're coming in this world already addicted to the first form of crack, sugar. And if you don't understand that, then go look at the stores and go walk in the stores and watch kids gravitate towards candy. If we ain't fucking fixing that problem, we're in a continuous cycle, and it will continue. We're wondering, what the fuck is going on? What's wrong with these kids? You don't look at the default program, how they got there. One of my stories, and I want to share with y'all, one of my stories I'm writing about is when my father allowed me to watch gangster movies in the 60s. This is my 61 cycle around this star. When I was 4 or 5, 6 years old, my father allowed me to watch gangster movies. Humphrey Bogart, James Cagney, for murder, robbery, kidnapping, and extortion, right? When my father died at 13, I began to gravitate those around me from my default program. I was in and out of institution all the way when I was 26, facing the death penalty for a murder case. Then I got out through technicalities, and I was back in prison again for kidnapping and robbery. What am I saying? I realized that the default program was in back of my head because I was doing everything that my father was allowing me to watch. My father wasn't no gangster. My father wasn't doing anything wrong. My father had 2 jobs, but he did not know. He did not know that I was being programmed by allowing me to watch these gangster movies. Well, imagine these women running around here driving in the car with the baby in the back seat, and you hear that blasting, that music playing. Do you understand what that music is saying? No, you don't. She don't understand frequency. She don't understand the subliminal messages. If you go back and just Google this, Google when subliminal messages was banned in movies. What does that mean? That in the movies, they would allow a screenshot so quick that you couldn't see it with the naked eye, but the subconscious mind saw it, and it would be a popcorn. It may be Coca-Cola. And next thing you know, you got a craving. You don't even know why the fuck you got that craving, because of the default program. If we don't address that issue, we fucking in a circle, and we continue to circle because we don't want to shut off the television. We don't want to shut off. We don't want to say, look, fuck these celebrities and rappers, just like we talked about. Those who follow celebrities, and they use celebrities to tell us what to do. If you're not into that, you're never gonna fix the problem, because you're operating on a default program and fucking don't even know it's a default program. Your ass is thinking whatever you're thinking, you think you're right. You're not right because you never questioned your own thoughts. I tell everyone, question what you think is right. Always question yourself, and always be willing to change your thoughts.
I grew up around gangs out in California, man, and to see a gang taking care of Miss Johnson, she needed something in that neighborhood. She needed some food. She needed her lights turned on. That's what the gang was about back then. It was taking care of the community. Now we think they'd have flipped the gang around to where the gang is violence, and that came with the drug era when they took out the strong-minded elders with the drugs. And to see these gangs now, how kids come together talking about this is my hood, all this stuff. They don't own nothing on that block. They don't own nothing in that block, but talking about this is my hood. 3 of them have 1, 2, 3 of us was in a gang, not saying us, but the gangs that we see now, if one of them was to do something like little buddy just said, nah, you all handle that yourself. I ain't taking my strap, my Velcro shoes, I don't wear them no more. But if one of them was to go to jail and they all supposed to be repping this same thing, them other ones are not gonna go take care of his wife, his family, his kids. I mean, they go get them draws, but they ain't gonna take care of them. And that's not no gang. So it's what we see in our neighborhoods, and it's what we see coming up. Like you said, there's subliminal messages. And think about when they changed the frequencies from 33 hertz, and even 666. 666 is the scientific number for sound. We think it's the devil, but music calms a savage beast, and it can also bring out the beast. So we got to get back and start teaching these kids. I mean, it's almost over for me. I'm almost 50. And
it ain't never almost over for you, brother. Never.
I'm over the hill. Put it like that.
You're never over the hill. Don't tell yourself that, brother. You're never over the hill.
What you speak, you manifest into life. I feel that. I feel that. But we need to get to these seeds.
I'm going into 61 and I'm still learning. I ain't
learn something new every day. And I tell everybody I come in contact with, my goal is to learn something new every day and to teach something new every day. Each one teach one. So these seeds is what we have to come up with them, because eventually they're going to be taking care of us. And back in the African village, it wasn't a such thing as a nursing home. We took care of the elder. We kept the elder in the house. Actually, the elders really ran the house. It was respect. And the respect is lost when they took it out. These politicians, when they took out, you can't beat your kids no more. Then they start taking over.
I like that. Politricksters.
Yeah, I don't play that shit. I play my politricksters with me. I control myself. No matter what this president get in and do, I'ma still get up and do what I gotta do if I got a healthy mind and a healthy conscience. They can't control me. They can control some parts of me, but what I do right here with myself inside me, it's up to me. They can't tell me what to do.
Well, listen, brothers, I definitely appreciate this conversation. I'm glad y'all came on for this discussion, man. I got much love for y'all. I got to get ready to roll out and head to my traps in Cincinnati and work my act.
Hey, man, appreciate it, man. Y'all brothers have definitely brought some knowledge, man. Appreciate you, Nate. Appreciate you, Tadal. What I just learned from the brother, he said music tames the savage beast. I think that on guns, they should have another button that presses that you can press for a song or something to play. You pull your gun out, press the song, maybe that nigga will calm down, like hold up, frequencies, but at least I know what to do if I'm ever walking through a jungle and a lion jumps out. With that in mind, folks, it's been another episode of the Tipping Point Morning After Show. And again, I want to give shouts out to everybody. And one thing too, I definitely want to make sure everybody knows, IncredibleCustom.com. Okay, IncredibleCustom.com. That's INKREDIBLE custom.com. You can text the word ink to 678-506-7543. Y'all got to show that brother some love, because when y'all see our flyers and things of that nature, that is brother Kari Muhammad, and he's doing such a fantastic job. You need to hit him up. You need logos. You want paper with your logo printed on it, wrapping paper, anything with your logos and such. That brother has it to do and take care of for you. So we definitely want to give a shout out to him, GodsLivesMatter.com and SayaBaba.com once again, and HealthDaddyWow.net. Again, folks, it's been another episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show. We will see you all next week, next Saturday. Anytime y'all brothers want to come vibe with us, then just let us know.
Well, real quick. plug in the next show. The next show would be about marijuana. Is it a drug?
Oh yeah.
Is it a drug or is it an herb? We're gonna be on that one, and we're hoping to have a great opening. We're gonna be talking about the herb, something that people don't want to talk about. Marijuana.
Yeah, people don't want to talk about because you're starting to mess with their emotions, man.
I know. Marijuana.
It goes from here to here to their heart, bro. Messing with their emotions.
Is it a herb or is it a drug? Yes, we're gonna go in and we're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna be brutally honest and just factual. Despite, is it addictive? That's another one. Is it an herb? Is it a drug? And is it addictive? Yes, sir.
Yeah, we might even have some people on smoking it. So we don't know. We'll see.
All right, peace, brother.
Next week.
Peace.
See y'all, folks.
Peace.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.